Hey guys, so one of the most popular questions that I get on my channel is, when can I start going back to exercises that I did before I got pregnant? And this is a loaded question because there are a lot of answers that really depend on you, and without personally examining you guys individually, I really can't give you a blanket answer. So I'm gonna give you a lot of questions to ask yourself, and hopefully by the end, you are able to identify whether or not you're ready to get back to working out like you did before you got pregnant. Number one, how postpartum are you? If you are less than 6 weeks postpartum, you're likely not ready to get back there. I personally did start light exercise at 3.5 weeks postpartum with low impact cardio stuff like walking or cycling. Eventually I added in some upper body strength, and by 6 or 8 weeks, even 12 I think, with my middle child, I started to add back in low impact strength training, which I think everyone can do safely. If you have never strength trained before, work with a personal trainer. 6 weeks is kind of an arbitrary number, so everybody's gonna be a little different. It's just kind of a general rule of thumb, but many of us, it's gonna take us a lot longer to heal and recover. So we are going to start slow, and we are going to do lots of modifications, especially when it comes to our core. So about 50% of us are going to develop a diastasis recti, which is a natural separation of the abs when you are expecting. If you do have one, do not fear. 50% of us who get them will see that they will close naturally on their own, and you don't need to go to physical therapy or anything like that. It's a great idea for everybody to go see a pelvic floor physical therapist, but I know it's difficult. It may not be affordable, or there may not be a location near you. So I know it can be tricky, so that's why I'm sharing all this information for you. So if you do have a diastasis, if you measure yourself at your 6-week checkup, ask your midwife or your doctor to check for you. Mine did, and she told me that I did have a 2-finger gap. So therefore, I knew that I needed to do modifications for all of my ab work. And so I started out, and I recommend for all of you, if you do have a 2 or more finger wide gap at your 6-week appointment, that you do practice modifications. Now, modifications for 50% of us are not going to be enough to heal our gap. Again, that's just 50% of us who have the diastasis. So about half of us get it, and then about half of us have it naturally heal, and then 25% of us need to actually do additional work. So if you have 2 fingers or more, you're going to want to do modifications for the foreseeable future until you know for a fact it is closed. Now, for many of you, I am going to say you never have to do crunches again. Crunches really are not that beneficial when it comes to core strength. They are not good if you have a DR, and there are much better moves out there available to you, so I don't see the point personally. Some of my favorite moves: the bird dog, a clamshell, you could do a side plank. Some of these different moves that are not gonna place as much pressure down the center of the linea alba, that if you do have too much pressure there, you're gonna see coning or doming, and I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like. So here my stomach is relaxed. See, is it coning right there? Ready? Relaxed. Pushes out. But you are going to want to continue to do modifications for at least 20 to 24 months. Once you get to about 6 months postpartum, go ahead and check and see if you have that gap. If you still have that gap at 6 months, I highly recommend you go and see a physical therapist if you haven't seen one. If you have seen a physical therapist before, sure, go ahead and try buying an online program that may help you close your gap. If you have never seen a physical therapist, go. They're gonna help you learn how to properly engage your core. If you don't have the time, you of course can go and buy one of the online programs, but I have found that the online programs are really only effective if you know how to properly do the moves, and it is hard to know if someone is properly doing the moves without the help of a physical therapist personally checking and making sure that you are doing them correctly. So that is my tip there. If you do not have a gap at 6 months postpartum, you can attempt to go back to doing some of the moves that you did before you were pregnant. Now, what are some of those moves you might be asking? A push-up, is one of them. A plank is another one of them. So you can try doing these moves, and if you do not notice coning or doming, then you're probably good to go. If you still notice coning or doming, you're gonna wanna take it down and you're gonna wanna do the modification. I would rather have you do a move properly with a modification, because modifying doesn't necessarily mean it's easier. Modifying just allows you to do the move properly, to correctly engage the right muscles without injuring yourself and building the lean muscle mass that we're all after to help us feel confident in the clothes that we wear. So bottom line, I'm gonna say wait until you're 8 weeks, check to see if you have a diastasis. If you do not, continue to do modifications until you get to 12 or 16 weeks to get back. If you have a diastasis at that 6-week appointment, wait and do modifications until 6 months. At 6 months, check again. If you do not, then you can continue. If you have a diastasis still at 6 months, please see a physical therapist. You can continue doing modifications, but unless you do exercises to heal it, which are super slow and boring, it's not gonna go away. It will only get worse when you decide that you are tired of the boring exercises. Take it from personal experience. I am next going to show you guys a video on boring exercises that are super effective. They're gonna help you feel less bloated. Your stomach is gonna lie a little bit flatter. But these moves are also going to help heal your diastasis, your diastasis, however you want to pronounce it. So check out my next video for how to stand up taller with a flatter stomach, so you're not having that pouch, that mommy pooch that kind of comes out when you have the diastasis. And these moves can be done by anyone. They are a little boring, but they focus on core strength, wrapping your abs so that you no longer feel like you're pregnant, 6 months or longer after you have a baby. So if you are like, why do I still look pregnant? You might have a diastasis. So come and try my next video.